Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I'm George. We're all George. So it's looking even better today, this morning, than last night when we broke into a new all-time high territory, and it did not seem like things stopped while we were sleeping, at least those of us in the US. The bull run is just warming up. Bitcoin wants to go higher. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about what to expect today for the remainder of this week. All right, let's do it. Let's do it, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are starting out the day at a new all-time high once again, although we were a little bit higher, but still, we are at $111,000 and 534. Up almost $2,000 since yesterday. And this, of course, is $2,000 higher, more than $2,000 higher than our previous high. Bitcoin is ready to run. And there are many factors at play that is driving Bitcoins upwards. And this is despite the US market not looking so good. Yesterday was actually a pretty red day, except for Bitcoin and crypto related stocks. Okay, today we are opening up kind of mixed. I don't know why it keeps defaulting to Europe, but we're opening up kind of mixed, but of course not mixed for Bitcoin and crypto. Everything is up and continues to go higher. This is like Bitcoin's time to shine. While there are a lot of global tensions, economic uncertainty, a lot of stuff still happening, but what that's doing is driving people into Bitcoin. This is the biggest macro reason why Bitcoin is slowly climbing up, and it doesn't seem like it wants to stop. This whole thing with bonds, okay, which really started a while ago, ever since the tariffs were announced, but it's been, shaky up and down. But ever since this Moody's credit cut, which most of you guys heard about, has really started something down a path that we may not be able to correct as a country. Investors are dumping US bonds, okay, globally, not just here in the US. It's causing bond yields to skyrocket. We are at 4.6% for 10-year. That is nearing this year high. 30-year Treasury is at a year high, a 52-week high, and continues to go up. When it comes to bonds and notes and treasuries, you don't actually want the percentages to go up. It's actually pretty bad because that means less people want it. That's why the interest rates are going, or yield is going up. And also means that as a country, we can't borrow as much as we need like before because you're paying higher interest and there's less people that want it. So this is like the worst case scenario that's happening right now. It's the reason why the US market, the stock market, is not doing well. But yeah, this is really bad because as a country, we don't want to see this go up. And we certainly don't want to see a skyrocket right now, but that's the case. Ever since that credit cut, things have become really bad. So the good thing is, those of us in Bitcoin, we are getting rewarded because this is causing massive sell-off globally, and many people that are selling off, or companies or countries, whatever, funds, they're utilizing that to buy Bitcoin. Maybe not 100%, maybe not even 50%, but even like a 10% of that or 5% of that makes a big difference. There's trillions and trillions and trillions of bonds around the world. So this is the biggest driver right now why we are seeing a surge with Bitcoin and why we probably will continue to see this for quite some time. It's a good thing. It's a good thing, unless you're a bondholder. That's not a good thing, but I don't think any of you guys are. Yeah, so ETF inflows, big signal, big sign of whether or not institutions are jumping in, and they certainly are. Yesterday was a massive inflow day, 607 million, just like the day before, just like the day before, just like the day before. I mean, it's pretty apparent right now the inflows, the buying is massive and it's not stopping. It's probably going to increase as Bitcoin goes higher. All good. All good, right? And of course, there are more forecasts of where we are going to go, right? Obviously, this is not the top. We got several levels left to hit. And then where will we end up, right? But right now, everyone's trying to guess where the next level will be, okay, that consolidation point. But the metrics continue to get stronger, which is great. So, I mean, this is like the best case scenario, right? This is like, this is the complete opposite of where we were a few months ago when people were predicting, well, how low will Bitcoin go? Now we are opposite. Now we're back in that bull run mode, trying to guess where that next peak will be, right? But the good thing is things support it. The narrative support it. Macro conditions support it. On-chain metrics support it. Even technical support it. Everything is in favor of Bitcoin going higher, hitting a new level, and continuing on for the remainder of this year. It's just fantastic. Fantastic. And those that understand, of course, are continuing to DCA and then never stop. Saylor put out something yesterday saying that if you're not buying a top, you're leaving money on the table, which sounds funny, but when it comes to Bitcoin, that's essentially true because Bitcoin has no top. It just keeps on going. There may be local tops, but if you give it enough time, we always get back to it and break through it, right? And that's why Saylor is so bullish, why so many other companies like Metaplanet, they have become so bullish. In fact, Metaplanet's stock is the hottest in Japan right now because of their Bitcoin strategy. And of course, strategy themselves are not going to stop. They're planning on issuing $2.1 billion worth of Series A stock. Guess why? Because they want to buy more Bitcoin. It's a race to the end. Basically, whoever can accumulate the most will win. Not just win at accumulating Bitcoin, win at, I don't know, life, I guess. So, yeah. You got countries now. You have a legislator from Taiwan that's saying Bitcoin is not just an asset, it's a strategic necessity, right? So we got countries that are also proposing strategic reserves, okay, 0.1% GDP, equaling 780 million. Will this happen? Quite possibly. Taiwan and many other countries, right, are trying to embrace Bitcoin in a big way, just like banks and financial institutions and private trade companies and public trade companies and all this stuff. And within the states here, yesterday I covered, Texas is about to have their own reserve. It's been passed. It's just they're waiting for the governor's signature. And then you got other states like Michigan and many others that are all turning very, very pro-Bitcoin or pro-crypto overall. So the landscape in the U.S. is definitely changing for the better going forward, not just for this year. A lot of these regulations are here to stay forever. It's hard to get them passed, but once you get them passed, they basically stay forever. So, good stuff. Good stuff going on here. So, where is this going to take us? Where is this going to take Bitcoin? Well, Peter Brandt was a pretty famous trader, I would say. He's been doing this for a while. He has turned pro-Bitcoin. Back in the day, he was not a pro-Bitcoiner. But these days, everyone is turning pro-Bitcoin. So looking at this, basically, he's predicting that Bitcoin is going to probably head to 125 to 150,000 by the end of August. That's only like 2 months. We're almost end of May, so it's really like 2 more months. 2 more months to head to 150,000? Certainly possible. With the way the macro conditions are going in a bad way, it's forcing more people to turn in Bitcoin. And remember, global liquidity is going up. Quantitative easing is happening already. And when there's money flowing, that also helps. So it's like perfect storm. We're at 111,000 today. We may be at 120,000 next week. And then we got so much time to hit that 150,000 mark by August. And then you know what? That's not the top either. We can keep on going. 200, 300, 400 predictions of 500, 600,000 now coming out. Here's a chart from Stock Money Lizards that they put out. You know, they put this out in December 23rd, predicting where Bitcoin will end. They're predicting that Bitcoin will end somewhere this year around $300,000. Now on top, it's a little hard to see. That's the trajectory of Bitcoin since the prediction. It's going according to plan. It's not as, it hasn't hit the peaks the same way, but basically it's following this trend line. And if you continue to follow or project where that trend line is going, you know, they're not that far off. 300,000, 200,000, 400,000 by the end of this year. Certainly possible. Certainly possible. We just continue to go and trend higher and higher and higher and higher. So that's why when I say when things get bad, short term, when in doubt, zoom out. Because when you zoom out like this, you're like, oh, no, you know, Bitcoin's just been going since November. It hasn't slowed down. What happened, you know, to our local bottoms? What happened to the days of 70,000 or 80,000 just a few months ago? Well, when you zoom out, you don't even notice it. Right? It seems like those days were so long, but that was only like a month ago. Things have turned really quickly. This is why with Bitcoin, you just want to stay in the game no matter what. You continue to hodl, and then you DCA, and that's it. That's the game plan. You don't need to do anything else. It's the winningest game plan when it comes to Bitcoin, right? So there you have it. Will we make a new high today and continue forward? We very, very possibly can. We may be hitting 112, 113, 115 pretty soon. Pretty soon. Now, outside of Bitcoin, what else is there? There's several things. One major thing that's not so good, but we got to talk about it, and that is SUI. One of my favorites, but still, you know, this happens all the time, and it's not a good thing, but the biggest DEX on SUI, Cetus, has been hacked. So there's not a whole lot of information about this. I don't know, they haven't put out a statement of how this happened or what happened, but basically the pools are getting drained. USDC is getting drained. All the memes on SUI is getting drained. You got $11 million worth of SUI that got drained, although the price has been holding pretty well. SUI's still very strong, but this has happened, right? And this kind of sucks because there's so many in crypto, of course, that believes in decentralization, wants to only support DEXs and trade over DEXs, but unfortunately, with a lot of these projects, they're still fairly new, and these hackers are very sophisticated, and this happened. At least this is contained to a smaller amount, because some of the previous hacks we have seen are like enormous, like hundreds of millions of dollars, right? That could last forever. This so far seems to be smaller nature, and the price drop is really contained at this point. But it's unfortunate because Sui was skyrocketing just a few hours ago, and then until this happened. But we'll see once they put out a statement what exactly happened, and I'm sure they will patch it. But yeah, this is one of the big things that came out today, which is not a good thing, but you know what? I believe in them. I think they're going to get past this. We'll see. Outside of this, you got also this. FIFA is going to migrate their entire NFT collection from Algorand and Polygon on top of Avalanche. This is a good move. I support Avalanche. I think they are in a good position. They're very into gaming, but they're also very into RWA. And, you know, they support so many other things. Their base layer, they allow others to come in and create their own chains, right? And FIFA obviously is huge globally. And if they're going to migrate their NFT collection onto Avalanche, that's going to be a good thing, a big deal. All right, and then lastly, Ripple, XRP. They really want Circle. They really want Circle on USDC. So they have doubled their bid from 5 billion to 11 billion. So right now, Circle is trying to go IPO, especially with the new conditions in the US, which is really favorable. But Circle has this really tight relationship with Coinbase. Coinbase owns like a certain percentage of Circle, and you know, there's a bidding war going on. So Circle kind of wants to sell itself before IPO, or maybe the IPO is just a ploy to get more money. So right now, Coinbase and Ripple are really trying to acquire Circle. So I don't know what happens if Ripple does. Ripple has $100 billion in their war chest, by the way. So they could easily up that 11 billion to 15 or 20 billion if they wanted to. But they have their own stablecoin, RLUSD, and if they acquire Circle and get USDC, I don't know what they're going to do. If they're just going to stop using RLUSD and just fully embrace USDC, I don't know. That would make more sense since USDC is so widely used and adopted. You don't really hear about RLUSD being used anywhere. So we'll see. But I think if they do acquire it, it's going to be big. In the US, right now we have this genius bill, right? And it's going to change the landscape for stablecoins in the US forever in a positive way. And I think Ripple knows that. That's why they want to become one of the leaders in stablecoins, right? So that's probably the reason why. We'll see if it happens. All right. That's pretty much it. Let's see. I don't know why this keeps defaulting to Europe. US market, somewhat mixed. You got MicroStrategy still doing very well, up 3%. Robinhood up 1%. Coinbase up 2.4%. So today, crypto-related stocks doing well once again. Obviously, that makes sense with Bitcoin in a new high territory. It's good all around. It's good all around. All right, let's do some Q&A. All right. For the people that aren't aware or are new, don't at me in the live chat. If I see it, I'm either going to ignore your message or I'm going to put you in a timeout. That's one thing that irritates me like no other. Let's see. There was a super chat above from Jay saying Knicks choked, Reggie Miller reincarnate. I did watch that. It was just like, it was pure luck though. That final 3 ball from Halliburton, like it bounced like 50 feet in the air and somehow jumped in. That almost seemed like it's rigged. But it's one of those things, man. That should have never happened. Knicks, I don't know what happened. Knicks better win the next 4. Am I going to XRP Las Vegas? No, I was not invited to that. I have no idea, no clue about it, so no. Vegas is a ghost town now. You know what, Abdul? I haven't been in Vegas for a while, but I could see that because hotel prices in Vegas are dirt cheap. Dirt cheap right now. So I could see probably tourists or, yeah, I guess the people visiting Vegas right now is very low. Bobby Digital. Yes, I've covered that. Bitcoin OS for Cardano. Bring Bitcoin's liquidity to Cardano. Yes, I am aware of that. Am I an F1 guy? No. I'm not into any of the car races like F1 or NASCAR. No, I'm not into any of those. I just like cars. I just like buying them. I like driving them. I like looking at them, but I don't really race them. I should, but I don't. And I just don't watch any car racing either, or Le Mans or anything like that. Okay, the person from Serbia, okay. I get your joke. You go tell Jokic about Bitcoin. Okay. You said that many, 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 many times. You could stop saying that. I get it. And just because you live in Serbia doesn't mean that you're best friends with Jokic. All right. Just like saying like, if I live in America, I'm best friends with all the NBA players. That's just not the case. Have I met any NBA players? I've seen them. I haven't really said hi to any of them. You know, it's weird now because I don't know how you react to like NBA player or any athlete for that matter that's like younger than you. You know, growing up, you look up to all these guys, right? All these athletes, and there's a certain, you know, awe about it because you're like, oh, when I grow up, I want to be like these guys, right? But what happens when now you're like older than all these guys? You know, you don't come off the same way. You don't talk to them the same way. Not like if you're a kid. So I've always wondered about that. I don't know how I would, if I met him in person. I don't know. It's like what do you say? Yeah, you call him son. Hey, like it's kind of weird because like I'm double their age now. Yeah, that's when the hack happened with Sui, man. Sui was at 420, looked like it was going to blow up until the hack happened. But you know, basically it just reset itself back to like a few days ago. Yeah, no, Max P. I'm older than LeBron, so I may not look like it, but I am. Have I watched the movie G20? No, I no, I haven't. Rusty Bot, I have not at all. I have not driven it at all for like a year. I just put insurance on it again, so I gotta take it out one of these days. What do you think about the new Strife at the market offering Sailor's issuing? I don't know. He has Strike and Strife and strategy. You know, he could keep on going, just issuing more shares and raising and keep buying more Bitcoin. It seems to work. Let's just put it that way. Whatever he figured out like a infinite money glitch, and somehow he could just keep on raising and keep buying Bitcoin. Richard, do you think XRP will perform better than it has been short term? Yeah, XRP. I don't know why they kind of like kind of like leveled off recently, but I do think it's go pick up again. There's no doubt about it. It's go pick up again. A lot of alts in general have not been doing well because all the momentum is in Bitcoin, but it'll change. Have I driven a GT-RS, GT3 RS? No, I haven't driven any Porsches, although I saw a nice one recently. A Carrera, I think they call it Carrera GTS. Normally when I look at 911s, I would only look at turbos or GT3s, but they have, no, they have Carrera RS, that's what it is. Carrera convertible RS. So it's kind of like, oh, wait, no. I'm looking at, no, that was the 718. 718 RS. So it's very similar to the GT4, but it's more like, more tame. But it looks good and it's fast and it sounds good. I was looking at that recently. Porsche is the new Ferrari. You can't get an allocation for a new one unless you know someone. Yeah, see, that's the bad thing about Porsche. Ferrari, you could always order one, okay? And they will never overcharge. You could order it at MSRP. Whether you get it or not is a different story. And you may have to like opt in a lot of options. But Porsche is not the same. It's a step below because of that. Those salespeople are just like greedy salespeople. They won't let you order. And anything that they have, they will charge like 50 to 100,000 over MSRP. You won't catch any Ferrari dealership doing that. That's like below them. They don't price gouge, although their prices are already sky high, but they don't try to take advantage of the situation, I guess. So that's what separates Ferrari and Porsche. Performance may be there, but the experience at the dealership is very different. When will I buy a Bugatti? Never. First of all, I don't have enough money. Second of all, if I did, I still wouldn't buy one because I would never be able to drive it anywhere. I'd be so afraid to go anywhere with it, so it's pointless. Jason, what do you think about new L1s like Vector Smart Chain that are gaining adoption? I like layer ones. I think it's too crowded now. There are way too many L1s, but most of the alts that I like and support are L1s. Never heard of Vector Smart Chain. Victor says, let me buy you a red Ferrari with 2 Bitcoin. Are you going to buy me a Ferrari or are you going to buy my Ferrari, Victor? You need to clarify that. I will sell you my Ferrari for 4 BTC. Victor, 4 BTC and you got a deal. It only has like 200 miles. Less than 200, I think. I think it's about 200 miles. Crypto golfer. $2.3 would not be enough, Victor. I'd be at a loss trying to sell it to it, and no one sells Ferraris at a loss. Greg, yes, I did it last night. It was a packed house. You missed it. Bro, do you live trade? I did it for a little bit. You know, live trading is kind of like it's tough. when things are going up, you're gonna make a lot of money. When things are going down, you're probably gonna lose a lot of money. So it's kind of like I don't know how you explain it. Love and hate relationship. Corey, I appreciate that. Ooh, April home sales dropped to the slowest pace since 2009. Things are certainly slowing down here in the US, but not for Bitcoin. Coinbase got added to S&P 500 a few days ago, so that's going to help it a lot. MicroStrategy continues to do okay, holding above 400, although it hasn't really moved towards 500 yet. LC 500 or IS 500? Of course, LC 500 is not even close. IS 500 is a car I would never buy. There's no point to it. 0 point to it. Rather have a M3 M4 over IS 500. LC 500 is on its own level. There's nothing really that competes with it. It's gorgeous. I would get an LC 500 convertible in a heartbeat. Not even for cheap? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't drive the IS 500. I think it's too small also. I can't drive like small cars anymore. Yes, Matt, I covered it already. Cetus got hacked, not Sui. Will BDC ever be dead again? I don't think it was ever dead. Cardano making a comeback. Cardano and Doge having a really good day today. Johnny. There's no right or wrong, Johnny, to profit taking. You want to take some profits? Go ahead and do so. There's really no magical formula to profit taking. If you need to build that cash pile on the side, do it. I'm looking forward to breakfast? Recently, I've been really, really, really hungry in the mornings. You know, I don't know how it is with some of you guys, but like, have you noticed how expensive it is eating out? Like every meal, I mean, at least like I eat out a lot, and like every meal is like $70, $80 minimum for lunch, even. Like, it's crazy expensive. I don't know how people, you know, without the means, um, eat out so much. It's crazy how expensive things have gotten. And then there's a lot of restaurants that add in like some kind of like service fee or something that you have to request to opt out of, but they'll just like tack on 3% for no reason. Um, Johnny, I remember you traveling for military or something. You said that before, right? But I appreciate your support, man. I'm glad you're still in the game. Um, Richie, do I own XRP? How much do we need to be millionaires? Uh, I don't know. It's probably gonna go up at least 3x from here. I'd say 3x. So you take a million, divide by 3. That's how much you need. At one point in the future, do you think Bitcoin will go to zero? Um, yes, at some point. It'll be way past our lifetimes. Maybe when, you know, we all become sentient beings, or we all live in a computer, or I don't know, or there's like World War IV or something. You know, at some point, you got to figure in the next 100,000 years, Bitcoin will probably go to zero because we won't need it anymore. But until then, I'm going to say no. Dean says when Jesus comes back, everything goes to zero. That would be one of the scenarios that causes everything to go zero. If that was true, and Jesus came back, yeah, everything would go to zero because everything would be meaningless. You can't take any money with you. Chemistry Pro, we're sentient beings. I guess that's true. I mean, sentient beings in a way where like we start taking over the universe, and we becoming gods ourselves, and we start middling with other life or life forms on other planets, something like that. Johnny, you've been watching me forever. You don't need to ask that question. You know how I feel about Sol. It's one of my top alts. I think it's going to do very well. What's your Dogecoin prediction? I think Doge would do well. It'll continue to go up. It'll go back to its previous high of 70 cents. And it's still going to be talked about by Elon. Although he like really kind of like stopped that because I don't think he wants to be sued. He was sued for like $300 million or something like that over Doge, or 100 million or something ridiculous. So I think that may be the reason why he's like calming his rhetoric down. Alan, I don't think Jesus would say that. Is a 5-year bull run possible? Yes, anything's possible going forward. I think the landscape is different now, so things are definitely possible. We could be in a forever bull run, and it never stops anymore. All right, guys, I think that's it. Overall, it's a pretty good day. Everything is up. We're in a new high territory once again. We're getting ready to make that next leg up. So stay strong, my friends. Continue to hold on DCA. Good things around the corner. So smash the like, subscribe to the channel. Let's see where we are tonight. If we hit a new high again by tonight, I'll be live streaming tonight once again. All right, have a good one. Take care.